bombardments of the area.
Here he says there, he was on the radio, there's nobody in there, sir. No cops including plate.
We're sitting over the road, that's exactly the same thing.
Since May 31st, residents have continually pleaded with PSNI officers to secure Clewin Place and stop the attacks.
Nobody wants you because you're not doing an effective job.
What I'm saying, mate, is, you see that
It's
corner
not, there's fuck all coming from that corner.
there?
Listen, there's fucking net. You were saying the same last night about the fireworks.
Well, that's all right.
That we were throwing fireworks over. There was no fireworks coming from here last
I
night.
want to know, sure you don't.
Huh? Firing fireworks over there. They're trying to tell us that there's cops in there. No cops including place. No, not taking that
Into
now.
the bag. I mean, I'm based before you even start.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm phoning and I'm asking this, the staff, the telling the staff. And then this happens and it just keeps on going on and on and on.
Excuse me. Right. I can't speak through a window. You can hear me?
Did you hear that fucking pipe bomb?
I want to know.
What are you laughing at?
Are you doing anything about it? Are you going to do anything about this? What
It landed in Clantyboy Drive. You's no fine really where it fucking landed. So yous do. No.
It won't do no good to call the police. Always come late if they come at all.
Clandaboy Estate consists of 75 houses and is sandwiched between Madrid Street and Loyalist Clewin Place. Clewin Place is a small cul-de-sac with 22 houses and one exit leading onto the main Albert Bridge Road. A 10-foot security wall divides the back gardens of Clandaboy Drive and Clewin Place. Even a small effective security presence at these positions throughout the summer would have prevented the subsequent violence and damage caused. Because this simple logic was not applied, incidents were allowed to develop and ultimately escalate into large-scale riots, requiring equally large-scale security responses. Residents believe allowing things to fester was not simply negligence, but indeed policy, aimed at inflicting maximum injury to this community and simultaneously portraying a police force overstretched and undermanned.
The Prime Minister is saying to us that he wants to take on Saddam Hussein and he wants to take on Slobodan Milosevic. He can't control 100 square yards in his own backyard.
Following evening, Loyalists threw a pipe bomb into Clandaboy Gardens and at around 10:30 launched the most aggressive attack to date with pipe bombs, large quantities of petrol bombs, and the usual rain of assorted other missiles. The images in Clandaboy were like a scene from the film Apocalypse Now, as bombs and fireworks lit up the night sky. Nationalist residents worked bravely with makeshift hoses to defend their homes. The aggression escalated through Sunday and Monday and into Tuesday without a break, as hundreds of Loyalists in Clewin Place laid siege to the area with petrol and pipe bombs. Gunshots were exchanged. Miraculously, no residents of Clandaboy were injured. However, 5 Protestant assailants from East Belfast were wounded as the attack continued. David Trimble, the First Minister, who until then had not uttered a word, blamed Republicans for the violence.
The truth of the matter is that what we have seen in East Belfast in recent weeks is simple, naked aggression. Aggression coming from Republicans, from mainstream Republicans as well. So, I have to address the Republican leadership, Mr. Adams, Mr. McGuinness, no excuses, no excuses. You must get a grip.
Indeed, the truth of the matter was obvious to even the most out-of-date observer. The only people who wanted the IRA on the street were the flagging Ulster Unionist Party and their leader, David Trimble. He needed it to suit his own political agenda of getting Sinn Féin put out of government.
What has happened undoubtedly is that the IRA have been responsible for organising and directing large-scale rioting in East Belfast. The organisation have done this. Now, that is indisputable. And what has to happen from the point of view of the Northern Ireland Office and the government as a whole, there has to be a clear response to that.
What was indisputable was that contrary to Trimble's claims of IRA orchestrating violence, Republicans have been to the forefront in containing and eradicating sectarian clashes. Sinn Féin leaders have consistently condemned and opposed sectarian violence, and when instigated by nationalists, Republicans have publicly and ferociously stated their opposition to it. Downing Street, Jerry Adams delivered his view of the situation.
This is the crisis within unionism manifesting itself in sectarian attacks upon vulnerable nationalist communities. And the British government cannot absolve itself of responsibility.
Whereas in North Belfast, Alliance Avenue, and in many towns across the north, like Antrim and Larne, nationalists had for months been undergoing a reign of terror by loyalist paramilitaries. Trimble outdid even anti-agreement unionists in a single-minded focus on republicanism. The threat and paranoia accompanying his leadership joust with Geoffrey Donaldson and the prospect of humiliation in next year's election battle with Ian Paisley's DUP had left the First Minister more than a little stressed.
Nowhere in the Good Friday legislation does it say that Sinn Féin have to get rid of IRA weapons. They have to use their best offices.
No, that's quite wrong. You're quite wrong about that. And you mustn't peddle these myths, because it's no more than a myth. The Good Friday Agreement commits all the parties to achieve
by
disarmament.
whatever offices they can use. And Sinn Féin will say they're doing that. Sinn Féin will say they're doing that.
No, you are distorting the situation, Mr. Thompson, entirely.
You may say that, Mr. Trimble, but Sinn Féin say that they are using their best offices. That's not me. That's Sinn Féin saying that. There's no point shouting at me.
Meanwhile, for residents in Short Strand, the violence visited upon this small community had left dozens of residents physically injured, one recovering from neurosurgery, and scores of homes wrecked. Loyalist bullies had forced the closure of the local post office and denied residents access to the local doctors, chemists, and other essential services in East Belfast. A Catholic funeral of grandmother Jean O'Neill was attacked, and students attending the nearby Biffy College were intimidated and threatened. At the doctor's surgery in Bryson Street, patients were intimidated, forcing the doctors to set up a makeshift surgery in the local community center. Local councillor Joe O'Donnell.
We have had to set up an emergency doctor's surgery, and we have all essential services been cut off, access to them, the pharmacy, chemist, social services, post office, schools, and we are in a very critical situation now.
Because as it denies people their basic human right to allow them to access their doctor for medical care.
People attending the funeral of grandmother Jean O'Neill were set upon by loyalists as the cortege entered the chapel.
Get the gates shut! This is our church, not theirs. Get them up the road where it belongs.
Watch your head.
Watch out!